Good to see you, Liam. Firstly, can you tell the guys back in the UK what's your current role at the UCI? What riders you're supporting? Give us a little bit of lowdown of who you've got competing this weekend. Bit of an overview. Where have you been? What you've been up to?
So, I'm still working at the UCI World Cycling Centre. Started there in 2018 as a BMX coach, and then coached the BMX program up until Tokyo. And then after Tokyo, moved into a performance management role. So, then work across all of the disciplines, basically looking at the talent pathways, athletes coming in from traditionally, more underdeveloped countries and nations. That's where we fit, but then we also do support athletes of high level. So stopped working directly with BMX after Tokyo, although I continued to help coach more of the high performance athletes at the centre through 2022. And then at the end of last year, it become more and more difficult to manage my roles and responsibilities as a performance manager and coach the athletes directly. So to cut a long story short, I do continue to help support some athletes, but in a private fashion. My role then at the World Cycling Centre is one of management, working directly with coaches, support staff across all the disciplines, which is cool. It's really good experience, and something that, even though I don't have a huge amount of background and experience with road, as an example, the principles are very similar. You're dealing with athletes and a bike race. So, looking to use my experiences over the last however many years to help support those disciplines. I guess to circle back to your question, continuing to work with Nick Kimmen and Zoe Claessens, and then really proud to help Masa Sampai from Japan with a group of young athletes there. And Masa and I have known each other for 20 plus years, and to be able to help develop BMX in Asia, specifically in Japan, with some really good athletes it's really cool. And continue to work with really good bunch of people. Excuse me, it's been fun.
Cheers for that, mate. Just going back to your first part of your answer, you've obviously coaching some high performance athletes. The games went really well. Talk us through, from your perspective, obviously you've competed at the games yourself. How has it been being on the other side of the fence, and also to have the athletes gain the results that they did under your guidance? How did that feel?
It's hard. It's really hard to, you're dealing with, I was working with 5 athletes that were qualified for Tokyo, and you're dealing with a lot of stress and emotion leading into competition. It's stressful because each athlete is going through different things. They've got varying levels of experience, varying levels of expectation as well. But it was cool. I mean, I had probably the highest high and lowest low. So Sai Hatakiyama, she grew up in Tokyo, and then was actually going really well. Day of competition, and then crashed in the first corner, broke a collarbone. That's it, the whole competition done. And then obviously on the flip side, Nick goes out and wins, and it's difficult to manage that. But I think that my experiences as an athlete prepared me pretty well to know what to expect and how to help. And I was always intrigued that if I had another opportunity, whether it be as an athlete or in the role as a coach, to be able to help somebody like Nick and put into, practice the things that I would have done different if I had another opportunity, and then to see that come good was really cool.
And when Nick goes over the line, I know it's completely different because obviously you're not on the bike. Do you still, that kind of, that buzz of winning a BMX race, you still get that feeling through your athletes? I know it's a little bit different, obviously.
No. It's I don't know if anybody's seen me come main time or game time, but I'm pretty animated. Just because I know what it takes. I know how much these guys sacrifice, and whatever way you look at it, they're from 18 through until 25 or whatever, they sacrifice a lot. They're not living a normal life of an 18 to 25 year old. They're most of them living away from home. They're not at uni. They're not going out partying or drinking. And and for me, I get really animated and nervous because I really want them to succeed for themselves. I know what they sacrifice. So yeah, I do get pretty animated. And if I'm honest, like I never obviously won the Olympics as an athlete, but to help somebody else achieve their goals and fulfill their potential, whether that's to win the Olympics or not, that is mad rewarding, and that's ultimately why I'm still involved now. Like I love the idea of being able to just help support and facilitate the athletes in their development. So even though it's not directly linked to my role now at the World Cycling Centre, as I said, what I do in a private fashion is solely being driven by my desire to want to help athletes fulfill their potential, and I have quite an open, honest relationship with the athletes that I coach, and I think that they recognise that it takes obviously a lot of time in my personal time to help them, but I'm doing it solely to give them the best chance of winning major events. So.
And a vested interest, isn't it? Obviously, every time they get on that gate, the risks that they're going to take, like you said, the sacrifices. So to have someone like you in their corner with that experience, I bet they're internally grateful too. So just going back to Niek, how does that work in regards to like the Dutch Federation and the UCI? Does it have crossover? How's that? What's the setup there?
Well, I guess now, I'm effectively completely independent from the UCI. Yeah, I'm here now with UCI World Cycling Centre jacket on because I've been the chef de mission for the World Cycling Centre, throughout this World Championship. So, that's managing 49 athletes and their comings and goings, hotels, accommodation, competition schedules, staff. It's been it's been hard.
Do you not have an assistant for that?
Yeah, no, I'm the gopher that goes and picks them up from the airport when they tell us 12 hours before that they're going to arrive, basically.
You need to write that into next year's budget, surely.
Yeah. I don't know whether there will be a budget after this, to be fair, but yeah, like with Niek, ultimately again, it's he's very experienced. He knows exactly what he needs, what he doesn't need, what he wants. From a training capacity, like he has a really good understanding of what it takes, obviously. And I would say that if I'm being honest, like my role with Niek is more as like, I would say, like a contractor, is like somebody that he can, I look at it like, you've got 3 lanes on the motorway, and as long as he's somewhere on that motorway, then he's okay. And the minute that he diverts off that, then I try and pull him back. And there's nothing. I think that the guys respect my honesty and the fact that I can tell them when I don't think things are going as they perceive per se. So yeah, Niek now, he trains in a group of people that he gets on with and can challenge him and push him to be the best version of himself. He's got a lot of flexibility and freedom to be able to run a program that works for him. Like ultimately winning the Olympics and 3 years later having to defend that comes with, I think, territory that I've not experienced before. So it's no wonder that he's had lack of motivation in parts. He's starting to find that again, and ultimately I certainly try and create a program that's fun, and we try and build, or I've tried to build over the last 5 years, a group of athletes that are all trying to achieve the same thing, pull in the same direction, try and remove egos, and I'm like I said, I'm in a position to be able to just try and help. I bring in people that I love working with and trust, like Rich Townsend. For me, he's the best mechanic in the world, and I wouldn't if I started working with him a few years ago, and he's still part of this now. It's been a real cool project to get somebody like Josh Butson in, that we've given him exposure of working with high-level athletes. He's been to university, struggling to gain some experience of working in that level of sport. So for me, like, it's not just about like the athletes going out and performing, it's about like what we're creating outside of that as well. And I think by and large, like we all have fun. Like Massa, I've known Massa for a long time, and works good.
Sounds like you've got real solid foundations and a real group that's kind of all pulling in the same direction. And it's so difficult, especially in such a singular-minded sport, because when you lock into the gate, everyone for themselves, right? But to see that, the infrastructure that you put in place and the foundations, it looks like things are going really well. Tell us a little bit about personal life. Obviously, we've seen you got married, you've got children. How's Jess? Where are you living? You living in Switzerland? You in England? What's going on?
Yeah, so firstly, personal life's great. Obviously got two beautiful girls. very, very lucky to have an extremely supporting and understanding wife that had been a high-level athlete, so understands what it takes.
That always helps.
Yeah, and I think that so we lived in Switzerland, moved back to the UK, or the girls certainly moved back, and then I fly in and out every week basically, and that was a large portion of my motivation to move into a different role, to be able to allow me to be able to find a bit more balance between my personal life with family and coaching. So yeah, it's great. I think that we tried living in Switzerland and it was hard, but now I found a really good balance. Doing this, I guess, privately is a big a big commitment in terms of time, but again, it's something that I couldn't really imagine living without. So just lucky that Jess understands and gets it, and her and the girls come to Papendal for the first time. That's the first time I've ever been to a race.
Wow. And
I think just getting her to sit down at dinner and be with the guys, although she understood before, I think that she really understands now that we're all, as athletes and staff, just trying to do the best that we can to give them an opportunity to perform at their potential.
It's amazing. It really is. And you probably don't hear this very much, but obviously I've grown up with you since kind of you were 5-6 years old, travelled the world, and to watch your journey going from the challenge classes here to see you go on to be a professional athlete, to then transition into the coaching role and work your way up like you've done in UCI. Like, personally for me, I think it's amazing. I just want to say, we're proud of you. We are, you paved the way, for the guys now, the British cycling, the depth, that from 2006 to 2010 was tough at the top end of the sport in the UK, and I know a lot of crap went on at that time, and for me, looking back now, you really did get your head down and drive through, and you almost like they're guinea pigs at that time for the guys now. They don't understand what happened back then. There was so much going on, so to see you transition through that, pull through, rainbow jersey, all of that, I just want to say well done and proud of you, man.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate.